Friends, today we are going to talk about joint sector enterprises, its features. Along with it, we would be covering partnership and its key features. Now, starting off with today's topic, the first one, joint sector enterprises. Children, as we have discussed earlier about private sector enterprises and public sector enterprises. If you remember, and I would also like to recap the same. The private sector enterprises, when we talked about, if you remember, are the undertakings owned and controlled, financed by the private businessmen. There is no government participation in case of private sector enterprises. Whereas when we talked about public sector enterprises, children, these are the undertakings which are owned and operated by the central and the state government. Now, let us talk about the joint sector enterprises. Children, joint sector enterprises consist of business undertakings wherein the ownership, control, and management are shared jointly by the government and the private entrepreneurs as well as the public at large. For example, in case of Indian Oil Corporation, the Gujarat State Fertilizers, Cochin Refineries, they are all examples of joint sector enterprises. Now, let us discuss some key features of the joint sector enterprises. The first feature of the joint sector enterprises, children, is mixed ownership. That is, the government, the private entrepreneurs, and the investing public jointly own a joint sector enterprise. Now, coming to the next feature of joint sector enterprises, combined management. The management and control of joint sector enterprises lies with the nominees or representatives of government, private businessmen, and the public. Now, coming to the third feature of the joint sector enterprises, children, share capital. The share of the government, private businessmen, and the public in the capital of the joint sector enterprises are 26%, 25%, and 49% respectively. That means the government has a share in the capital of 26%. The private businessman has the share in the capital of a joint sector enterprise as to 25%, whereas the public at large has 49% share in the joint sector enterprises. Why it is done? The aim is to pool the financial resources as well as the technical know-how of the state and the private individuals. So, children, this was about joint sector enterprises. Moving on to the next topic for today, that is partnership. Children, if you remember, we had discussed earlier about sole proprietorship. Children, if you remember when we discussed about sole proprietorship is a one-man business. That is, in case of sole proprietorship, a business owned, financed and controlled by a single person. He is responsible for the profit as well as loss of the business. As in case of a grocery shopkeeper, he is himself managing the whole show. So he himself is responsible for the profit as well as loss of the business. Now, let us discuss about the partnership and its key features. Children, when we talk about partnership form of business is an extension of the sole proprietorship business. Why it is an extension? It is an extension of the sole proprietorship business because when one person is unable to meet the financial as well as the managerial requirements for a growing business, he takes a partner along with him. So they enter into a partnership agreement with each other. So we can say partnership is a association. Now what kind of association is partnership? Partnership, children, is a voluntary association, that is which is without any kind of force. There is no force among the partners to be partners in the business. It is a voluntary association of two or more persons who have mutually decided among themselves to carry out the business activities jointly and share its profit as well as losses. Now, the people who enter into such partnership are individually called as partners' children, and when we collectively call them, they are called as a firm. That is a partnership firm. The name under which they carry on the business is called the firm's name. Say ABC partnership firm, XYZ partnership firm. So, the name under which the partners carry on the business is called as the firm name. Now, let us know some key definitions of partnership given by eminent people. The first definition, as given by L.H. Henne, he says that partnership is the relationship between persons competent to make contract who agree to carry out the business, that is a lawful business, in common with the view to private gain. That is, it is an agreement between two people who are competent enough to enter into a contract of carrying out the business and sharing the profits and losses of the business. Let us see another definition as given by the Partnership Act. The Partnership Act says that partnership is the relationship between persons who have agreed to share profit of the business carried on by all or any one of them acting for all. That means in this case, any one partner can do the work, being responsible enough for all others partners, but other partners have to have a consent on this. That is, in this case, such a partner is liable to act and perform for other partners in the business. Now, let us know some key features of the partnership. The first feature is two or more persons. In case of partnership, there must be at least two or more persons to form the partnership. A person cannot, children, enter into a partnership with himself. The maximum number of persons in a partnership should not exceed 10 in case of, children, banking business and 20 in other types of business. The next feature is agreement. Partnership, children, is an outcome of an agreement between persons. As we had mentioned that there need to be an agreement between the partners because they are voluntary associated with each other to share the profit and losses of the business. The relation of partnership arises from the formation of the contract and not from the status or birth. That is, if the proprietorship gives a share in profit to his employee, it will not be called as partnership. Why, children? Because he has not entered into an agreement of partnership between himself and his employees. This agreement, children, must be oral or written. It must satisfy all the essentials of a valid contract. The third point of the features is lawful business. Yes, children, the partnership firm should do a lawful business. Any unlawful business being carried out by a partnership would not be termed as a partnership business. A partnership can be formed only for the purpose of carrying on a business. An association of persons who jointly own a house without carrying on the business is, children, not termed as a partnership. The business carried on by the partners, children, must be lawful. If it is a gambling business, it will not be termed as a partnership business. Cooperation is illegally act such as theft, smuggling. Such things are not part of the partnership business. The next point is sharing of profit. The agreement between the partners must be to share the profit of the business. There can be no partnership without there being an intention for mutual gain. That is, the partners must share the profits and it should be distributed among the partners in the agreed ratio on which they have agreed in the partnership deed. Same is the case for losses. It should be also shared among the partners. No single partner should be liable for any kind of losses in the business. The next point is there need to be utmost good faith among the partners. Yes, children, the relationship between the partners should be based on mutual trust and confidence. Say, every partner in the partnership business is expected to act in the best interest of the other partners. He must have utmost good faith in dealing with his co-partners. The next point is mutual agency. Now, children, what do we mean by mutual agency? Kindly understand. Partnership business can be carried on by one or all the partners or by any one of them acting on behalf of others. Say, I am a partner in the partnership business. I act on behalf of other partners into a deal. So, children, it means that every partner is implied agent of the other partner and the firm. Each partner is liable for acting on behalf of other partners in the firm. The next point is unlimited liability. In a partnership, children, every partner is liable to an unlimited extent of the firm for its debts, that is, for its losses. In case, children, the assets of the firm are not sufficient to pay to the creditors, in that case, the personal assets, say the property of the partners, can be utilized for paying off the debts of the business. So, we can say that it is related to unlimited liability. The next point of the features for partnership is restriction on transfer of interest. Yes, children, a partner can transfer his share in the firm only with the consent of his partners. He cannot do so on his own. He can transfer his share in the partnership business with the consent of all other partners in the business. So, children, today we have discussed about joint sector enterprises, its features. Along with it, we have covered partnership and its key features. Thank you and be ready for a doubt session on the Microsoft Teams. Have a good day. Take care.